Welcome back. In this video, I'm going to do some experiments to try to see how ink transparency affects your Collagraph print, as well as what happens with the borders if you place a Collagraph plate on an inked up surface. Hope you enjoy the video. So I decided to create this video as I've got some ideas about some future prints, which I will also release the videos about. But mainly I wanted to run these experiments because there were a few questions I had in my head, and I just wanted to see what happens if I transpose a lighter ink onto a darker print, and if there is a way I can do it. And also what happens if I print a Collagraph plate on an inked up surface? Will I get a border around? I will probably get a white border, but how big is this border going to be? Will it affect my design? So these questions in my head have been going around, so I decided to answer them, and also hopefully answer them for you if you ever wondered about it, as having this knowledge can really help in planning your future prints. With the question of printing lighter color ink on darker or more vibrant colored print, I'm going to try out several different things. So I'm going to try to print a white ink on a plastic shape, imprinted onto my print, and I'm going to just try rolling an out of tube white ink and seeing what happens. Then I'm going to try applying ink with a paintbrush, sort of thicker layer, and see if that works better. And then I'm going to try to add some thickening paste or magnesium carbonate to make the ink thicker and stickier, to see if that makes any difference and if that will make this work better. As well as I am also very unconventionally going to try to screen print a lighter shape onto my print, and don't know how that's going to work out because I'm going to use an acrylic ink on top of Intaglio ink, which is oil-based. So I'm using a water-based ink onto an oil-based ink. So I don't expect this to work at all, but this is really curious, and I just want to try and see what happens. Here is a little hack I found. I put this Perspex sheet on top of my press, and it's really helpful because it's showing me where the paper is and where the plate is, as well as I'm able to slide in my design, if I wish to, underneath the Perspex sheet to guide me. So here is an old Collagraph plate I used in one of my previous videos. I just dug it out of my treasure box, and here is this Perspex sheet that I'm going to ink up, and I'm going to put my inked up Collagraph plate on top and see what the edges will come out. Theory is the edges will probably be white, but how big the edges will be, I just wanted to use this experiment to find out. So I'm going to use a bright yellow ink and just rolling it out, as you can see, so the ink spreads out nicely. So now we're ready to apply the ink to our Perspex sheet. And here is my Collagraph plate, which I'm now inking up with some black ink, and just spreading the ink out to make sure it goes up to the edges nicely. And then I'm just wiping the ink off, just the excess ink. And now that my Collagraph plate is ready, I'm placing the Perspex sheet on top of the press bed, and then very gently just putting my Collagraph plate in here, and I'm going to put my wetted paper on top, and just run it through the press just to see how big the white borders will show up. Sometimes the nice borders can look quite nice, but sometimes you don't want them. So really it's just a matter of what it is you want from your image. So it's really good to run experiments like this, so you can have a copy of what it looks like for the reference, if you want to take that into consideration in your design. So I've got my newsprint on top and a bit of cardboard, and I'm just about to run it through the press. So here we go, time for the big reveal, and let's see what it's like. Oh, that looks really nice. I quite like the black against the yellow. As you can see, the border's not too bad. It's only small and doesn't bother me here too much at all. So yeah, interesting experiment. And now for the second part of experiment. I'm going to see what will happen if I ink up a plastic shape and try to print it on top of my quite sort of rich in color print. I just wanted to know how transparent this ink will be. So I'm just picking up here a random shape I've cut out of plastic sheet, and I'm just basically rolling on the ink, white ink, straight out of the tube. I haven't done anything to it, and I just wanted to see really if I'd be able to see this shape at all. So this is another experiment that I was really curious about, and I posed that question in my head, and I just wanted to find out what happens. So here's my shape. I'm putting it on my press bed and just sticking the print on top, newsprint, and just running it through my press. And let's have a look. Here comes the moment of truth. And as you can see, you can barely see it. So that's interesting. That tells me that it doesn't work. So on to my second experiment. Here's my second shape, and this time I'm not rolling the ink on, I'm painting it on, sort of dabbing it on. So the idea is the thicker paint should, in theory, give me a better mark on the print. So let's see and find out. Okay, after running it through the press, I'm just revealing. Again, I've put the shape on the bed of the press and my print on top. Got a little bit stuck. But as you can see, much better result. It's not, it's still a bit transparent, but perhaps if that's the effect you're looking for, then that's okay. So my next experiment, I'm going to try to screen print on it. I wonder what it will do if I will screen print with screen printing ink on top of my print. So I'm just sticking down the shape that I want to screen print on top of my design. And I'm just using straight out of the tub screen printing ink. I don't have white, I only have yellow, but it doesn't matter. It's just for the purpose of this experiment. I want to see what happens. Okay, so here's my yellow ink. I've just poured it on top of the screen, and I'm going to get a squeegee and just run it through. Here we go. I'm not doing a test or anything like that. It's just really for purpose of seeing what happens. So I'm not really doing a proper screen printing how you should be done. I'm just doing a real quick experiment here. All I want to know is if I run the ink through on a screen print, if it's going to come out onto my print. Okay, so now the screen is inked up. I've got my print underneath. So in theory, I'm just checking underneath if it's in the right place. Here we go. Let's have a look. Okay, so I've got my print. As you can see, not too bad. It's a bit more sort of blocky, but it's still transparent. However, interesting. I like how it sort of stands out. So anyway, so this is another part of my experiment. This is a thickening paste. It's an ink thickening paste for printing inks. And what I am interested in finding out, if I add this thickening paste to my white ink, in theory, it should make the ink a bit stickier and thicker. So, is it going to be, it's probably not going to be more pigmented, but I just want to see if it will work better if I apply a thickened ink on my plastic shape, and if that's going to leave a more saturated mark on top of the design. Thickening paste is also known as mag mix, or you can buy magnesium carbonate in a good printmaking shop. It's in a powder format. You can add it to the ink to thicken it. Okay, so now I'm just going to apply this thickened ink on my plastic shape. And again, I'm just going to place it on the bed of the press and place my print on top of it and see what happens. Okay, so as you can see, actually, it made no difference at all. This shape here is very transparent. So adding thickening paste hasn't made the ink work better, and it would have been expected since didn't make the ink more pigmented or denser. So I'm not really surprised by that. So thank you for watching, and it's always good to try these things out to see what happens, and with that knowledge, hopefully you can use it in your printmaking. Thank you so much for watching, and take care and happy printing.